Stop letting weak people rent space in your mind. Every single day, someone is trying to pull you down to their level, provoke you, insult you, steal your focus, and if you let them, you lose. Not just that argument, you lose your peace, your focus, your power. Anger is a leash, and most people are walking around with their emotions held by someone else's hand, not you. After this video, you will never allow anyone to control how you feel again. These are not tips, these are tactics for total mental domination. Commit to mastering them, and you will be untouchable. These videos require a lot of effort from me. Please help spread this ancient wisdom to more people. Hit subscribe, smash the like button, and drop a comment below. It's just one click, but it ensures you never miss powerful insights. Show support and help the algorithm bring this content to others. These thoughts could inspire or help someone else on their journey. Together, we can make a difference. Let's share knowledge and empower more people to take action. Number 1, own your reactions. No one deserves your emotional control. Let me make one thing brutally clear. The moment you allow someone to trigger you, you become their puppet. I don't care who they are, your colleague, your partner, some stranger online. The second you react like a slave to their words or actions, you hand over the keys to your mind. You stop being the master of yourself, and you become a toy they can wind up whenever they please. Doesn't that disgust you? It should. You, a person capable of greatness, a mind built for creation, strategy, and mastery, reduced to a squirming mess because of someone's petty comment or disrespectful glance? That's beneath you. That's beneath anyone who wants to call themselves strong. Anger is not power, it's surrender. Understand this, and it will change your life forever. When you lash out, when you scream, when you stew in rage because someone pushed your buttons, you are admitting, loudly and publicly, I have no control over myself. You are telling the world, this person owns my emotional state. That is a humiliation you should never, ever accept. You were not born to be emotionally fragile. You were not put here to be spun around by every idiot who crosses your path. The world is full of provokers, small people who survive by pulling others into their pit of negativity. And every time you react, every time you give them that satisfaction, you confirm their power over you. Do you want that? Really? Do you want to live a life where any fool with a bad attitude can knock you off balance? Where someone's rude comment can hijack your peace for hours, maybe days? What kind of life is that? I'll tell you, it's a life of voluntary slavery. But today, right now, you have the chance to end that weak cycle forever. You have the power to own your reactions, to seize back control of your emotions with an iron grip, and refuse to let anyone dictate how you feel ever again. This is personal responsibility at the highest level. This is you standing up and declaring, I own my mind, no one else, not my boss, not my partner, not some troll online, no one. This is not about being cold or emotionless. This is about being untouchable. You feel what you choose to feel, and nothing else. When someone tries to insult you, tries to embarrass you, tries to bait you into an argument, they are offering you a leash. Every time you react, you put that leash around your own neck and hand the other end to them. That should make your skin crawl. It should make your blood boil, but not at them, at yourself, forever letting that happen. You are worth more than that. Your time, your energy, your emotional state, these are priceless assets, and you have been treating them like free giveaways to anyone who crosses your path. That ends now. From this moment forward, you train yourself like a warrior. Every insult, every provocation, every tiny jab is a test, and you pass that test by refusing to react. Not because you're weak, but because you are too powerful to be dragged into the mud by small minds. You become a wall of steel, a fortress no one can breach. When someone throws an insult at you and you remain calm, you are not losing, you are winning. You are proving to yourself and to the world that you are in charge of your reality. They wanted you angry, you stayed calm. They wanted to pull you into chaos, you stood rooted in peace. That's dominance, that's power. That's how you become untouchable. This is a battle between your higher self and your animal reflexes, and you must win that battle. Every day, in every situation, you must choose your power over your impulse, your strength over your fragility, your self-respect over temporary emotional release. Because here's the truth, Reacting feels good for 5 seconds, but owning yourself feels powerful forever. Every time you refuse to be triggered, you are stacking bricks in the fortress of your mind. Every time you stay calm under fire, you become more dangerous, more respected, more in control than 99% of people walking this earth. People crave control over others. They want to get a rise out of you because that makes them feel important. But what happens when you refuse to give them that? What happens when you smile calmly in the face of their chaos? They shrink, they lose, they dissolve into irrelevance. That's your new standard. You control you. No exceptions. No compromises. From this day forward, your emotions are not up for negotiation. No one can have them unless you decide they're worthy. And let's be clear, 99% of people are not. So own your reactions like your life depends on it. Because your freedom absolutely does. Every reaction you control is a victory for your mind. Every outburst you avoid is a declaration of your strength. And when you live this way long enough, something incredible happens. You stop being bothered by anything at all. Because you realize deep in your core that you are always in charge. This is not just about avoiding anger. This is about becoming unshakable. This is about building a mind so powerful, so steady, that no insult, no attack, no person can ever touch your peace again. That is your goal. That is your duty. And it starts now. Now go out there and own yourself. Number 2, master the pause. Silence is a weapon. Let me tell you something most people never understand. Your first reaction is almost always your weakest reaction. That flash of anger, that instinct to fire back, that need to defend yourself instantly, it's the response of a child's mind, not a master's mind. And if you want to become the kind of person no one can shake, no one can break, no one can manipulate, you must master the pause. Not casually, not sometimes. You master it like your life depends on it. Because in the world of power, it absolutely does. When someone provokes you, when the pressure rises, when the insult lands right on your pride, every fiber of your body will scream react. But that scream is a test, and you must crush it under your boot like an insect. You do not react. You pause. In that pause, you do something almost no one has the strength to do. You reclaim control. In those 2, 3, 4 seconds of silence, you transform from a target into a threat. In those few beats, you shift from prey to predator. And make no mistake, silence is the most terrifying weapon you possess. Do you know why? Because silence forces the other person to face themselves. Most people are not prepared for that. They want your reaction to validate their existence. They want your anger to prove they matter. When you deny them that, when you leave them suspended in the cold vacuum of your silence, they crumble. They reveal exactly how small they are. You reveal exactly how powerful you are, and you feel it. That rising sense of strength when you realize, I don't owe anyone my energy, I control the flow. Most people cannot survive silence. They need noise to cover their insecurity. They need constant back and forth to avoid facing the emptiness inside themselves. But you become the person who thrives in silence, who draws power from it. You become the kind of mind that can sit still while chaos rages around you and never flinch. That is terrifying strength. That is the mind of a ruler, not a slave. Every time you pause, every time you resist the childish urge to fire back, you train yourself to become emotionally unbreakable. You build a wall of discipline inside yourself, a wall no insult can penetrate. You stand calmly inside your fortress while your enemy shouts at the gate like a fool. And every second you remain silent, the stronger you become and the smaller they appear. Silence is not weakness. Silence is pure dominance. It says louder than any words, you do not deserve my immediate attention. It says, I decide when I engage. I decide if I engage. That kind of restraint drives weak people insane. They need you to explode. They need you to play their game. And when you don't, when you hold the pause and let the silence stretch, they are left wrestling with their own insecurity, their own fear, their own irrelevance. But mastering the pause takes training. It takes self-respect. It takes the iron belief that your peace, your focus, your inner world is too valuable to be handed over to every fool with a loud mouth and a fragile ego. It takes the unwavering commitment to being a fortress, not a doormat. Every time you pause, you add another brick to that fortress. Every time you resist the urge to react, you sharpen your weapon. And when you finally do choose to speak, your words land with the weight of a hammer, because they come from a place of deliberate power, not desperate impulse. This is not a technique. This is a way of living. This is the mindset of kings and conquerors. The world's strongest minds do not speak first. They do not explain themselves to anyone who baits them. They do not dance like puppets for attention. They sit in silence, they observe, they choose their moment, and when they move with purpose and force. You must become that person. The person who can pause even when provoked, even when disrespected, even when the insult hits directly at your pride. Especially then. Your pride is not fragile glass, it's solid iron. And if it's not yet, you will forge it into iron through this very practice. Pause, breathe, let the silence do your work for you. Let the silence expose the weakness of the other person. Let the silence remind you, and them, exactly who holds the power in this conversation. You do. Most people will never master this. Most people live in emotional poverty. Broke, desperate, clinging to their fragile sense of importance, demanding reactions from others like beggars in the street. But you step out of that pathetic game entirely. You become a fortress of presence. You radiate control because you own the pause. And when you own the pause, you own the conversation. When you own the conversation, you own the relationship. When you own the relationship, you own your life. And that, my friend, is what true power feels like. The power to choose, always, how you show up. No one gets to pull you, no one gets to push you, no one gets to shake you. You are the calm at the center of the storm. Master the pause, and you will become untouchable. Number 3, see the game. Every trigger is a test. If you want to walk through this world unbothered, untouchable, immune to the noise and nonsense that breaks weaker minds, you must open your damn eyes. You must see the game for exactly what it is. Because make no mistake, every insult, every provocation, every sneaky little comment, every piece of bait someone throws your way is not random. It's a test of who you are, a test of what you've built inside your own mind, a test of how much power you really hold. The average person walks into every situation blind, reacting to life like a puppet, strings pulled by whoever speaks the loudest. Someone offends them, they explode. Someone disagrees, they argue like their life depends on winning. Someone mocks them, they defend themselves like scared children begging for approval. That's the mind of a pawn. Fragile, desperate, weak. But you are not average. You are not here to live like a pawn. You are here to own the damn chessboard. And to do that, you must learn to see the game for exactly what it is. Every trigger, every insult, every situation that tempts you to lose control, it's a trap. It's bait. And the second you react without thinking, the second you give your emotions away for free, you lose. You lose respect, you lose power, and most importantly, you lose yourself. Understand this. The world is full of weak people who need to see you triggered to feel strong themselves. They live off your reactions. They feed off your anger. They crave the chaos they can pull you into because it makes them feel relevant. And the only way to win this game, the only way to stay untouchable, is to refuse to play. You see the trap, you smile, and you step over it like a king stepping over a puddle. This is not about ignoring reality. This is about owning it. Every time someone tries to provoke you, you recognize what's happening in real time. You see the game for exactly what it is, a test of your self-mastery. And instead of reacting, instead of explaining, instead of wasting one drop of your energy, you pass the test by staying calm, collected, and in full control of yourself. That's the moment you become dangerous. That's the moment you stop being prey and become a player. That's the moment people realize you are not like them. They can't predict you, they can't trigger you, they can't own you. And nothing is more intimidating than a man or woman who cannot be emotionally manipulated. Most people live their entire lives reacting to everything, like leaves in the wind, blown from one emotion to the next. Constantly angry, constantly stressed, constantly explaining themselves to people who don't even matter. And they wonder why they feel so weak. They wonder why they never feel in control. It's because they never see the game for what it is. They take everything personally when none of it is personal. It's all a test. Someone disrespects you, it's a test of your ego. Someone mocks your beliefs, it's a test of your confidence. Someone tries to make you explain yourself, It's a test of your security. Every damn trigger is a mirror, reflecting exactly where your mind is weak. And every time you react impulsively, you fail the test. You confirm to yourself and the world that you still need their approval, that you still need to prove something, that you are not yet free. But the moment you decide, not hope, not try, but decide to see every trigger as a test, everything changes. Suddenly, every insult becomes an opportunity to sharpen your control. Every provocation becomes a chance to reinforce your dominance. Every difficult conversation becomes a battlefield where you practice standing tall, silent, and unmoved. And with every test you pass, your internal power grows. Your confidence hardens into certainty. Your presence thickens into something unshakable. This is not a game for weak people. Weak people need constant validation. They need to explain themselves. They need to be understood, liked, praised. Strong people need nothing. They walk into the room already full, already whole, already powerful. And when someone tests them, they do not flinch. They smile because they see the game and they know exactly how to win it. You must decide right now. Are you here to react like a child or reign like a king? Because kings do not argue with peasants. They do not explain themselves to fools. They do not defend their pride to nobodies. They see the game for what it is, a series of tests designed to expose weakness, and they use those tests to become even stronger. Every trigger is your teacher. Every insult is a gift. Every situation that tempts you to lose control is your chance to prove, not to them, but to yourself, that you are bigger than the moment, that your power is not for sale, that your peace cannot be stolen, that your mind belongs to you and no one else. See the game, play it better, and you will walk through this world unshakable, a force no one can control, a presence no one can ignore. And that is real power. Number 4, kill the need for validation. Approval is a prison. Listen to me right now, and I mean really hear this, because it might be the most important thing anyone will ever tell you about mastering yourself. If you crave validation, you are not free. Period. You are shackled, owned, controlled, and worse, you are controlled by the weakest, most irrelevant voices imaginable. Random people, passing opinions, meaningless noise. Yet that noise lives inside your head like a dictator. It dictates how you feel when you wake up. It controls how you behave in conversations. It invades your peace when you're alone. It poisons your clarity when you're thinking. Every time you pause before speaking, wondering how you'll be perceived. Every time you second-guess a decision because someone might disapprove. Every time you shrink yourself because you're afraid of judgment, you confirm it. You are a prisoner. And worst of all, you built the prison yourself. Brick by brick, insecurity by insecurity. Every insult you internalized. Every piece of criticism you couldn't handle. Every disapproving look you let shape your self-worth. It's all there, forming the walls that trap you today. And if you feel even a flicker of anger at this truth, good. Feel it, because that anger is proof that a part of you already knows you've been living like a slave to external approval. And you're disgusted by it, as you should be. Let me say this with the sharpest clarity possible. No one on this planet, no matter who they are, deserves control over your emotions. No one deserves to sit inside your mind rent-free, pushing your buttons, making you feel less than you are. But every time you crave their approval, that's exactly what you give them. Unrestricted access to your self-worth. Like a king handing his crown to a beggar and then wondering why he feels powerless. This is not just a habit to fix. This is an identity to burn down and rebuild. If you want to be unshakable, truly untouchable, you must kill, bury, and erase this craving for validation from the deepest corners of your soul. Don't negotiate with it. Don't manage it. Destroy it. Because here's the truth no one told you. The more you need approval, the more manipulatable you are. It's like wearing a leash around your neck that anyone can yank whenever they want. An insult? Yank. A rejection? Yank. A cold stare from across the room? Yank. Every time someone disapproves of you, you feel the sting, because you gave them that power. And if you don't take it back, you'll be a puppet for the rest of your life. Now let me flip the script. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and suddenly you need nothing from anyone. You don't need to be understood. You don't need to be liked. You don't need to be agreed with. And you definitely don't need to be admired. Imagine that. Imagine walking into a room and feeling zero desire to impress a single soul. You speak because you have something to say, not because you want applause. You live according to your values, not because you want validation. You move through life answering only to yourself. That's power. That's real freedom. That's the mental fortress that makes you immune to insults, untouchable by criticism, and impervious to emotional manipulation. And guess what? That's not reserved for special people. That's available to you the second you decide you deserve it. Let me rip away another lie while we're at it. Approval will never make you whole. Even if you got all the validation you're secretly craving, it wouldn't be enough. It's a drug that requires constant hits. You would need more and more and more until you're drowning in external praise and still feel hollow inside. Because the hole isn't in the world, it's inside you. And only your own self-respect can fill it. This is why you have to flip your entire mindset upside down. Approval is not a reward. It's a trap. Every time you chase it, you confirm to yourself that you are incomplete without it. You train your mind to believe that your value comes from outside you, from other people, from their words, from their opinions. And once you believe that lie, you are doomed. Because now your peace, your confidence, your sense of worth, they all live outside you. And anyone with a voice can steal them. This is the ultimate weakness, needing permission from the world to feel good about yourself. But here's the truth that will set you free. The only approval you need is your own. The only validation that matters is the respect you see in your own eyes when you look in the mirror. The only applause worth earning is the quiet sense of pride you feel when you know you lived your truth without compromise, without fear, without begging for acceptance. That's real strength. That's what it means to be unbothered. Not indifferent, unbothered. There's a difference. Indifferent means you don't care about anything. Unbothered means you care deeply, but only about the right things. Your standards, your principles, your values, not their opinions, not their approval, not their applause. This is the mindset you must build. The mindset of a ruler, not a beggar. You walk into every situation with the unshakable belief that you decide your worth. Not the crowd, not the critics, not the fans, just you. And when someone tries to pull you into their drama, their insults, their petty attacks, you stand there calm as a mountain, untouched, because you don't need their approval and they can't threaten your identity. This is the ultimate act of personal power. It's the difference between a mind that bends to the world and a mind that bends the world to its will. And it's a choice, a decision you make, not once, but every single day. Every time you feel that pull, that craving for someone to like you, to agree with you, to understand you, you kill it. You remind yourself, their approval is worthless to me. My self-respect is priceless. So burn this into your mind. Approval is a prison. Validation is a leash. Kill the craving and you break free. And when you break free, you walk through this world untouchable. Not because you hide your feelings, but because you own them so completely, no one can take them away. That's the power you deserve. That's the freedom you owe yourself. Now take it. Number 5, control your physiology. Your body obeys your mind. Let me make this clear right now. If you cannot control your body, you will never control your mind. And if you cannot control your mind, you will never control your life. That's how high the stakes are. This is not just about anger or frustration. This is about whether you walk through life as the master of yourself or a victim of your own biology. When someone triggers you, when they insult you, dismiss you, challenge you, humiliate you, what happens first? Your body reacts, your chest tightens, your jaw clenches, your breath gets shallow, your pulse speeds up, heat rises in your face, your hands twitch, your stomach churns, and suddenly you're not thinking, you're feeling. And if you don't seize control in that exact moment, your body hijacks your mind. Your emotions swell like a storm, and now you're no longer acting, you're reacting. Understand this. Every time your body takes control, your power evaporates. You are now at the mercy of adrenaline, cortisol, and primitive survival instincts that were designed for cavemen, not kings. That might save you from a wild animal, but it destroys you in conversations, in negotiations, in conflict, in life. You can't afford that weakness. Not anymore. Not if you want to be untouchable. You need to understand something profound. Your body is not in charge unless you let it be. Your body is a tool. It exists to serve your mind, not the other way around. Every time you let your breathing spin out of control, every time you let your fists clench until your knuckles go white, every time you let the heat in your chest build until it explodes out of your mouth, you have abandoned your post. You've surrendered. You've stepped down as ruler of yourself and allowed your animal brain to take the throne. That's not power. That's pathetic. Control starts with physiology. I want you to burn that into your brain like fire into steel. You cannot control your thoughts until you control your breath. You cannot master your emotions until you master your posture. You cannot stand unshaken in the face of provocation until you learn to slow your heart with your will alone. Think about the most powerful people you've ever seen. Truly powerful. Not loud clowns puffing their chests, but those who can command a room with a whisper. Do they flinch? Do they fidget? Do they breathe like they're drowning in their own feelings? No. They stand still. They own the air around them. Their breathing is deep, slow, deliberate. Their face is relaxed because they command their muscles instead of letting tension command them. They look like they are carved from stone, not because they're emotionless, but because their emotions flow through them without ever shaking their core. That is physiological mastery, and without it, you will be weak. Period. The next time someone tries to bait you, tries to make you snap, tries to pull you into their drama, I want you to feel your body's reaction. Feel the pulse spike, feel the heat rise, feel the muscles coil up, ready to lash out, and then I want you to seize control, not gently, not politely, ruthlessly. Command your breath to slow. Command your shoulders to drop. Unclench your jaw like you're the king of your own face. Stand straighter, not to show off, but to show yourself that you are in charge here. This is your body, not theirs, and definitely not your emotions. Do you understand how powerful this is? Most people think emotional control is some mystical gift. It's not. It's a chain reaction. Control your breath and you control your pulse. Control your pulse and you control your emotions. Control your emotions and you control your mind. Control your mind and no one can control you, ever. This is why soldiers are trained to control their breathing under fire. This is why elite negotiators slow their heart rates before walking into high-stakes deals. This is why world-class performers anchor themselves in posture and breath before stepping on stage. Because they understand the law. Your body obeys your mind, but only if your mind commands your body first. Otherwise, your body runs wild and your mind scrambles to clean up the mess. This is what separates those who stay calm under pressure from those who crack. This is what makes someone seem unbothered. Not because they feel nothing, but because they own what they feel. And they own it by controlling the physical triggers that emotions ride in on. Let me say this louder for the ones who still don't get it. Your body is your emotional delivery system. It's where feelings become physical. If you intercept them there, if you seize your breath, your posture, your tension, you break the chain before anger ever takes root. You cut off its oxygen. You smother the fire before it burns. This is not optional if you want real power. You cannot be the master of your life if you are not first the master of your body. You can't be calm in chaos if your breath controls you. You can't outthink provocation if your heart rate hijacks your thoughts. You can't choose your responses if your body is already reacting before your mind even wakes up. So I'm telling you right now, train this like your life depends on it. Because your freedom does. Train to notice the first flicker of tension. Train to relax your face even when your blood boils. Train to breathe deeper when your chest tightens. Train until no one, not your enemy, not your boss, not your family, not the worst insult you can imagine, can provoke your body into betraying you. When you own your physiology, you own your presence. You radiate control. People can feel it before you even speak. They sense they can't shake you because you've become unshakable at the cellular level. And when that happens, when your mind and body obey you completely, no one can drag you into anger ever again. This isn't a trick, it's a requirement. If you want to be untouchable, unbothered, unbreakable, you must first master the kingdom inside your own skin. No excuses, no exceptions. So from this moment on, every time you feel that rush, the pulse, the heat, the tightening, don't collapse into it. Command it, Own it like you own your breath, and in doing so, you will own yourself, completely and permanently. That's how you become unshakable. That's how you become the one they can't provoke, ever. Number 6. Choose perspective. Every insult is a gift. Let me tell you something that will shift the ground beneath your feet if you actually understand it. Every insult you receive is a gift. Every criticism, every jab, every sneer, every mocking word handed to you is a gift wrapped in ugly paper. And only the weak, the fragile, the easily broken are blind enough to throw that gift away. But you are not weak. You are not fragile. You are not here to break. You are here to rise. And if you're going to rise, you need to see the world through the eyes of someone who cannot be defeated. You need to adopt the mindset of a person who uses everything, even hatred, as fuel. You need to stop whining about how people treat you and start harvesting every insult like gold dropped at your feet. Why? Because insults expose your own weaknesses. They show you where you still crave approval. They show you where your ego still flinches. They show you where your skin is still too thin. And if you're smart, you will thank your enemies for holding up that mirror. This is the shift most people will never make, because they're too damn attached to their fragile little feelings. They want to be loved. They want to be respected. They want the world to be gentle with them. What a pathetic way to live. Do you want to be at the mercy of every idiot with an opinion, or do you want to be the one who stands so unshakable that every insult becomes your training ground? You need to decide right now what kind of person you are becoming. The weak collapse under criticism. They fold, they crumble, they lash out, they cry for sympathy, and all they prove is how breakable they are. The strong, they smile, they absorb, they turn every insult into data. What does this insult show me about myself? Why did this one sting? What part of me is still too soft? They thank the world for the free training. This isn't about pretending words don't hurt. No, you'll feel them. But you will control what that feeling means. That's the power move. That's the separation between those who are ruled by others and those who own themselves completely. When someone insults you, the weak mind says, "That hurt me. That was unfair." The strong mind says, "Good, you just showed me my next weakness to eliminate." This is the attitude that makes you untouchable. This is the thinking that transforms insult into instruction, enemies into teachers, critics into personal coaches, and you never even have to pay them. Every hater becomes your employee, training you for free. Do you understand how unstoppable that makes you? When every insult becomes either truth or trash, both of which make you stronger, you become terrifying to those who want to control you. If the insult is true, you thank them for the information and you sharpen that weakness until it's a weapon. If the insult is false, you laugh, because why would you be bothered by lies from a fool? Either way, you walk away sharper, stronger, less vulnerable. That is the mindset of someone who cannot be controlled. And here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Most people are emotionally weak because they were never trained to take a hit. They were taught to seek comfort, validation, softness. They were never told, one day the world will slap you across the face and no one will care how you feel about it. They were told to believe in fairness, but life isn't fair, and neither are people. You need to abandon this childish fantasy that the world will treat you with respect if you simply deserve it. It won't. The world will throw garbage at you whether you deserve it or not. And if you get angry every time someone disrespects you, you will spend your life dancing like a puppet on strings pulled by fools. Unless you flip the whole game on its head. Unless you decide, right now, that every insult is fuel. That every criticism is information. That every disrespect is a training session. Unless you choose to interpret every single attack as a gift sent directly to sharpen you into someone no insult can penetrate. I need you to feel how powerful this is, because most people will never get here. Most people will live their whole lives whining about what people said to them, begging the world to be nicer. What a miserable, powerless way to exist. But you will smile every time someone tries to cut you down. You will smile because you know the truth. Every insult makes you stronger, not weaker. Imagine walking through life with that kind of power. Imagine every word meant to hurt you bouncing off like rain on stone. Imagine every critic, every hater, every keyboard warrior becoming another rep in your mental gym. Imagine living so free that no one can touch your sense of self because you decide what everything means. That's the goal. That's the target. And it's not some cute mindset trick. It's a full rewiring of how you process reality. You're not here to be loved by everyone. You're here to be so complete within yourself that love or hate doesn't move you an inch. That's what real freedom feels like. It feels like being unbothered because you have already decided that nothing can define you except your own mind. No insult can make you feel small unless you decide to agree with it. No criticism can shake your confidence unless you secretly believe it's true. And if you do believe it's true, great. They just gave you the map to your next level of strength. This is your choice now. You can keep living like a fragile victim, begging the world to speak to you softly. Or you can become a collector of insults, turning every single one into muscle, into armor, into unstoppable inner strength. Choose now, choose forever, and never let a single word from a weak mouth dictate your worth again. Number 7. Ruthless emotional editing. Cut off triggers without mercy. Listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to tell you will make or break your emotional power. You are responsible for editing your environment, your inputs, your triggers, completely, without mercy, without hesitation, without apology. Weak people live their lives like sponges, absorbing every toxic drop thrown at them. They scroll through poison. They surround themselves with complaining voices. They allow the people, the conversations, the digital noise, and the mental garbage to flood their system. And then they wonder why they feel drained, angry, irritated, and constantly on edge. Let me be absolutely clear. Your emotions are your responsibility, and the first act of true power is cutting off anything that poisons your mind. Not gently, not slowly, ruthlessly. You need to stop being sentimental about your triggers. You need to stop making excuses for toxic people. You need to stop pretending you can swim in sewage and somehow stay clean. You can't. You have to edit your life like a savage editor with a blade in hand. If something triggers your anger, your resentment, your insecurity, you cut it off immediately. No second chances. No negotiations. No, but we've been friends for so long. No, but I've always followed this person. You are not a garbage can for weak people's opinions, gossip, negativity, or noise. You are a fortress, and what you allow inside determines whether you stand tall or collapse like a fool. Every single person, app, conversation, habit, and environment is either fueling your strength or feeding your triggers. There is no neutral. There is no harmless indulgence. Every input you allow shapes the way your mind reacts. And if you keep filling your mind with nonsense, you will always be at the mercy of that nonsense. This is the part where the weak will start to resist, because the weak are addicted to their triggers. They claim they want peace, but they can't stop checking the gossip. They claim they want focus, but they can't stop scrolling through drama. They claim they want to master their emotions, but they keep surrounding themselves with people who provoke the worst in them. That's not an accident. That's self-sabotage. And you are too powerful for that nonsense. You are the editor-in-chief of your life. You decide who gets access to your attention. You decide what enters your mind. You decide what feeds your thoughts. And the moment you realize this power, you stop tolerating anything that pulls you into unnecessary emotional chaos. I'll give you an example. If there's someone in your life who constantly irritates you, constantly brings drama, constantly triggers your anger, you have two options. Train your mind until you become immune to their nonsense, or cut them off completely. Both are valid, both are powerful, but what you cannot do, what you will no longer tolerate, is keeping them around while whining about how they make you feel. That's weak, that's victim behavior. And that ends today. This is ruthless editing. It's not about being cold-hearted, it's about being clear-hearted. It's about deciding, once and for all, that your emotional state is more important than anyone's feelings about being cut off. If someone gets offended that you created boundaries, that's their weakness screaming, not your problem. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, ever. And if your triggers are digital, toxic media, constant bad news, endless scrolling through outrage, you edit that too. Unfollow, mute, delete, block, walk away, without fanfare, without dramatic announcements. just cut the cord and never look back. Because every second you expose yourself to something that drains your power, you are choosing to stay weak. And you're here to become unbreakable, untouchable, emotionally unshakable. Editing your triggers is not about hiding from reality. It's about designing your reality. There's a difference between being informed and being infected. There's a difference between being aware and being overwhelmed. And only the weak confuse the two. I need you to feel the power in this, because most people, they are prisoners of their own habits. They think they have to check every notification. They think they have to engage every argument. They think they have to maintain relationships that died years ago. And all that thinking keeps them weak, reactive, easily triggered, and perpetually exhausted. But you are stepping into power. And power means you choose what feeds your mind. Period. This is emotional minimalism at its most brutal. You keep what strengthens you. You cut what weakens you. Nothing stays just because it's familiar. Nothing survives just because it's comfortable. Your peace is too valuable to bargain with nostalgia, guilt, or habit. When you live like this, when you edit your emotional environment like your life depends on it, because it does, something incredible happens. Your baseline calm rises, your triggers fade, your ability to stay centered, no matter what, becomes unshakable. Because you're no longer drowning in noise. You've carved out space for power, and in that space, you don't just survive, you dominate. Let everyone else drown in their own addiction to chaos. Let them cling to their toxic inputs like a drug they can't quit. Let them call you cold. Let them call you ruthless. They will never understand what true freedom feels like. But you will. You will walk through life unbothered because you have edited your world down to only what serves your strength. You will face provocations, but you will not bite because your mind isn't stuffed with garbage, so you have the space to choose your response. You will meet people who crave your reaction, but you will give them nothing because you are too disciplined to dance for fools. This is your power. This is your responsibility. Ruthless editing is not a hack. It's a lifestyle. It's the price of true peace. Pay it gladly, pay it fully, and never apologize for protecting your mind like the priceless weapon it is. Number 8, build an internal fortress. Your mind is your kingdom. If there's one truth you need to tattoo into your soul, it's this: your mind is your kingdom. And if you don't defend it like a ruthless king, it will be invaded, corrupted, and conquered by forces weaker than you. Every insult, every provocation, every petty drama, every manipulative word from people who thrive on chaos, all of it is an attack on your kingdom. And every time you allow these invaders to breach your walls, you lose a piece of your power. Understand this: nobody can enter your mind without your permission. Nobody. Not your family, not your boss, not your so-called friends, not the trolls online, not the random strangers who hurl opinions like grenades. Nobody gets to control the kingdom inside your skull unless you hand them the keys. But most people do exactly that. They build no walls. They set no guards at the gates. They leave their minds wide open, like an unlocked fortress begging to be raided. They let anyone walk in and dump garbage on their throne. They react to every provocation, every opinion, every cheap shot. And with every reaction, they weaken themselves, one crack at a time, until they are no longer kings or queens of anything. They are just peasants, scrambling to defend a kingdom that was lost years ago. You, on the other hand, you are here to build an unbreakable fortress inside yourself. Stone by stone, wall by wall. Every insult that comes your way, it crashes against your walls like a pathetic wave against a mountain. Every manipulative tactic designed to provoke you, it dissolves before it even touches your throne. Your fortress stands tall because you built it with intention, with blood, with sweat, and you defend it with everything you have. Here's the raw truth most people are too weak to accept. Anger is the result of weak walls. When your mind is wide open, anything can trigger you. When you have no fortress, every fool has access to your peace. You don't get angry because people are evil. You get angry because you left the gates wide open, and now you're shocked that idiots walked in. That's on you. Your mind must become sacred territory, holy ground that no unworthy force can enter. And to do that, you need to make a brutal decision. You will no longer allow anyone to control your internal state. No one. no matter who they are, no matter what they say, no matter how personal it feels. They can knock on the walls all they want, but they do not get in. This is not a passive practice. This is not positive thinking. This is a relentless, daily act of mental warfare, a commitment to protect your mind as if your life depends on it, because it does. Your peace, your power, your clarity, they all live inside this fortress. And if you let that fortress fall, you lose everything. You need to feel this at a gut level. Every time you react to nonsense, you are opening the gates. Every time you argue with a fool, you are inviting them into your throne room. Every time you let someone's words hijack your emotions, you are surrendering your crown. And the more you do it, the weaker you become, until you forget you ever had power at all. But when you build that fortress, when you set the walls, when you train the guards, when you decide that nothing gets in without your permission, that's when you become untouchable. That's when you walk through storms without getting wet. That's when people will say nothing bothers them. How is that possible? And the answer will be simple. Because I built my kingdom from the inside out. Here's the other thing weak people won't understand. Building this fortress requires sacrifice. You might have to cut off people who constantly breach your walls. You might have to give up habits that feed chaos into your mind. You might have to embrace solitude, long stretches of silence where you rebuild yourself brick by brick. And most people are too afraid to do this. They'd rather keep the noise and lose their peace. They'd rather stay connected to garbage than stand alone in strength. But you are not most people. You are here to rule your inner world. And ruling means taking absolute responsibility for what enters your mind, for what you dwell on, for what you allow to grow inside you. If anger blooms inside your walls, that's your fault. If insecurity takes root, that's your failure to guard the soil. If provocation steals your peace, that's your negligence as king or queen of your own damn kingdom. This is not harsh. This is reality. And the sooner you own it, the faster you reclaim your power. When your fortress is strong, you stop looking for external validation. You stop explaining yourself to fools. You stop overreacting to every little slight, because you know exactly who you are, and you know exactly what's worth your energy. And 99% of what bothers the average person, it's not even worth a glance from you. And this isn't cold-heartedness. This is clarity. This is freedom. This is what it feels like to stand inside your own mind and know that nothing, absolutely nothing, can shake you unless you allow it. This is the power most people crave, but are too lazy or too afraid to build. So here's the challenge. Starting today, you build. You build the walls, you guard the gates, you choose what enters, you decide who has access, and you defend that peace like it's the most valuable thing you own. Because it is. No more excuses. No more whining about triggers. No more blaming the world for your feelings. This is your kingdom. Own it. When you build this internal fortress, something profound happens. People stop being able to control you. They lose their power to offend you, to disturb you, to manipulate you. They throw their worst at you, and you stand there, calm, powerful, untouchable. Because you know exactly who rules inside your mind, and it's not them, it's you. Number 9, study the masters. Great minds stay calm. You want to be calm, unshakable, untouchable? Then listen closely, because this is where the real magic happens. You need to study the masters. Great minds stay calm, and there's no other way around it. If you want to become a person who is never bothered by anyone, who faces the world unflinchingly, unwavering in the face of chaos, you need to understand that the secret lies in modeling the greatest minds that ever lived. Think about the titans of history. Think about the figures who have lived through war, betrayal, scandal, loss, suffering, and yet remained composed. The ones who didn't lash out, who didn't let the world control them, who didn't surrender their peace to others. These were men and women who mastered themselves at a level most will never even grasp. They didn't just endure. They thrived. They dominated. They led with unbreakable poise. They understood the most powerful thing that anyone can ever learn. Calm is strength. And great minds, they don't get ruffled by trivial matters. They don't lose their cool over petty drama. They understand that the only thing worth reacting to is what truly matters. And when the storm rages, they are the ones who stand still at its center, steady and unshaken. Why is this important? Because your anger is a reflection of your immaturity. Your frustration with others is a sign that you are still reacting to the world as if you have no control over your inner state. You are allowing others to manipulate you, whether it's a slow drip of irritation or a complete explosion of rage. And guess what? That's your fault. It's your failure to learn from the best, from the ones who have been through the fire and come out the other side with the wisdom to remain calm in the storm. But here's the thing, you can learn this. You can absorb the teachings of the greats and apply them to your life. This isn't some pipe dream reserved for the intellectual elite or spiritual gurus in their ivory towers. This is a practical skill you can learn right now. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your past was like. You have the ability to elevate your emotional control, to cultivate the mindset of someone who doesn't get rattled by the petty squabbles of the world. You just need to make the choice, the relentless commitment to study the minds of the masters. And who are these masters? Let me remind you of a few. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, who ruled over one of the greatest empires in history, who faced wars, betrayals, and personal loss, and yet he wrote journals full of wisdom about inner peace and self-control. Nelson Mandela, who spent decades imprisoned by an unjust government, and when he was finally freed, he didn't emerge with bitterness, revenge, or anger. He emerged with a powerful vision for reconciliation and unity. Mahatma Gandhi, who stood up to the mighty British Empire with nothing but the strength of his character, his resolve, and his unshakable calm. He knew that to change the world, you must first master yourself. Eckhart Tolle, a modern-day sage who teaches that peace begins within, and that no matter how chaotic the world becomes, we always have the power to center ourselves and remain still. These are not people who let the world dictate how they felt. These are people who understood that the real power lies in your ability to remain centered, regardless of the storm around you. The truth is, the world is chaotic. People will always try to provoke you. Situations will arise that could easily trigger your anger, frustration, and resentment. But how you respond to those moments is everything. When you study these masters, you realize something profound. They didn't respond to life. They created their own response. They understood that the world, people, and events were outside their control. But what they could control was how they responded to everything that happened. That is the key. You cannot control the world, but you can control how you react to it. Do you want to live in a constant state of anger, a perpetual cycle of frustration and irritability? Or do you want to become the master of your inner world, where nothing can disturb your peace? The answer is clear. You must cultivate this calm, and the way to do it is by studying the masters, the ones who have lived through the most difficult and chaotic circumstances, and who still remain unmoved by the madness of the world. And this isn't just about reading their books or learning their philosophies. It's about absorbing their mindset, their way of being, their unwavering belief in the power of a calm mind. You don't just read their words, you embody them, you become them. This is a practice. It's not something that will come to you overnight. It's a commitment, a decision to no longer react like everyone else. It's a decision to stop allowing external events to control your emotional state. You must begin to practice calmness the way an athlete practices their craft. You must train your mind like you train your body, daily, with relentless dedication. When you begin to study these masters and apply their teachings to your life, you will notice an incredible shift. Your peace will become unshakable. People who used to easily upset you will no longer get under your skin. Your reactions to stressful situations will be measured, thoughtful, and deliberate. You will become the calm in the storm, and nothing will disturb you. This is the power you deserve. This is the mindset you need to cultivate. This is the life of mastery you can lead, and it starts by studying the masters who have come before you, who have shown us all how to rise above the noise and chaos of life. Now, are you ready to take the next step? And number 10, release the need for control. Let life flow without resistance. The final step to ultimate emotional freedom. Because once you understand that peace doesn't come from controlling the world, you'll unlock the ultimate secret to serenity. Number 10, build inner confidence. When you know who you are, nothing can shake you, Hewis. Let's cut to the chase. You want to live free from anger, free from frustration, and free from being bothered by others? It all starts with one thing: confidence. Not the fake, surface-level confidence that can be shattered by a few harsh words or a simple mistake. I'm talking about deep, unshakable, and absolute inner confidence. The kind of confidence that, no matter what happens around you, will keep you grounded, calm, and in control. When you know who you are, when you know your worth, when you understand your own value, nothing can shake you. No insult, no criticism, no reckless comments or ignorant people can pierce your armor. Because let me tell you, they can't touch you. Why? Because you've already decided who you are and what you stand for. The opinions of others, the petty drama, the noise, none of it matters to you. You've built an unbreakable foundation inside yourself. That's the power of inner confidence. That's the secret. People spend their whole lives chasing external validation. They seek approval from others, they crave compliments, they yearn for recognition, they need to be liked, they need to be accepted. And every time they're rejected, every time someone doesn't give them what they want, they react. Anger rises, frustration builds. They let the world control their emotions because they don't have control over themselves. But let's stop pretending. If you need the world's validation to feel good about yourself, you're doomed. You're a prisoner to others. You've handed over the keys to your emotional state, and now the world can make you happy or destroy you with a single word. Is that what you want? No, you want to be free. And the only way to be free, to be truly free, is to build an inner fortress. To know who you are, not who others think you are. Not who you pretend to be, but who you truly are, deep down. So how do you build this inner confidence? How do you stop being shaken by the world around you and start living from a place of unshakable self-assurance? You get brutally honest with yourself. You face the uncomfortable truths, the insecurities, the doubts, and you crush them with the relentless force of your will. You take full responsibility for your own emotions and your own self-worth. Here's the hard truth. No one can make you feel inferior unless you let them. No one can make you feel unworthy unless you give them that power. And guess what? You don't have to give anyone that power. You are in control. Always. You just have to claim it. When you build this inner confidence, when you truly know who you are, the world will stop having any control over you. You won't need anyone's approval. You won't need validation. You won't need the praise or the recognition. You'll know you're enough. You'll know that you're powerful beyond measure. Now here's the kicker. Building inner confidence is not easy. It requires you to face the darkness within, to confront your own weaknesses, your own fears, and your own insecurities. It requires you to take responsibility for every single aspect of your life. But here's the beautiful thing. Once you start taking ownership, once you start standing tall in your own identity, everything changes. The world loses its grip on you. No one can trigger you. No one can make you angry. No one can knock you off course because you're grounded in who you are. You are the rock. The storms around you can rage, the chaos can unfold, but you are still. You stand firm. How do you cultivate this unshakable confidence? You start by accepting yourself fully, just as you are. Stop waiting for perfection. Stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you're worthy. You have everything you need right now. You are enough. Start from there. Commit to believing that. Next, you need to set boundaries. Stop letting people into your life who don't respect you, who don't value you, who bring negativity and toxicity into your space. You control who gets access to your energy. Once you realize this, once you take back the power you've been giving away, you'll feel an immense sense of liberation. You'll feel stronger. Then you begin to take action with purpose and conviction. Confidence is not just a feeling, it's a byproduct of action. You don't just sit around waiting for confidence to appear. You create it by showing up every day, no matter what. You show up for yourself. You take consistent action toward your goals. You prove to yourself that you can handle whatever life throws your way. You do this day after day until you know with absolute certainty that you are more than capable. And here's the secret no one tells you. True confidence is quiet. It's not the loud, boastful, in-your-face kind of arrogance. It's the kind that comes from knowing you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to shout your worth from the rooftops. You just are. When you build this kind of inner confidence, the world becomes irrelevant. You stop taking things personally. The insults, the criticisms, the negativity, it doesn't touch you. It bounces off you because you know you are worth more than any opinion or judgment thrown your way. You are free. And this confidence will not only shield you from anger or frustration, it will propel you forward. You will approach every challenge with a calm, cool, and collected demeanor. You will handle every obstacle with grace and ease. You will know that nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you from achieving what you want in life. Now take a deep breath. It's time to decide. Are you ready to build this inner confidence? Are you ready to take full responsibility for your emotions and your life? Because the moment you choose to do this, the moment you choose to know who you are, is the moment your life will change forever. When you own your inner confidence, when you are no longer at the mercy of others' opinions or words, that's when you will find true freedom. Nothing will shake you. Nothing will make you angry. Nothing will bother you. You will be unshakable, unstoppable, and invincible. Are you ready to become that person? Number 11, break the pattern. Predictability makes you weak. You want to never get angry or bothered by anyone, don't you? You want to be impervious to the world's chaos, unaffected by the insults, the negativity, and the judgment that's hurled your way. Then stop being predictable. Stop walking the same path every day. Stop being trapped in the patterns that have kept you weak and vulnerable. Predictability is not just a habit. It's a trap. It's the chains that bind you to your emotions, to your reactions, and to your suffering. It makes you easy to read, easy to manipulate, and worst of all, it keeps you stuck. If you want to master your emotions and stop being triggered by the world around you, then you must break the pattern. You must disrupt the comfort zone that makes you predictable. It's time to face the brutal truth. You are only as strong as your ability to handle the unexpected. And when you allow yourself to fall into patterns, to fall into routines, you strip away your ability to respond to life's curveballs with strength, composure, and power. You leave yourself exposed. You give up your emotional control. Every time you fall into the trap of predictability, you hand over your peace of mind. You hand over your ability to stay calm and collected. No one can trigger you if you're unpredictable. No one can control your emotions if you are the one who is always changing the game. You want to be the force that moves the world, not the one who reacts to it. You want to break free of the box that keeps you locked in. So what does it mean to break the pattern? To stop being predictable? It means you take deliberate, conscious action to shake up your life. You choose to stop being the person who reacts the same way over and over again. You choose to be someone who can handle anything life throws at you because you've conditioned yourself to expect the unexpected. This is not about randomly changing things just for the sake of change. It's about taking full responsibility for your emotional state and refusing to let life's circumstances control you. When you allow yourself to be predictable, you're giving the world the power to shape your emotions. And that, my friend, is weakness. Predictability makes you an easy target. People can figure you out. They know how to push your buttons. They know how to make you angry. They know what will trigger you. That's the opposite of power. And if you want to reclaim control over your emotions, over your life, you must disrupt the patterns that have made you an easy mark. You must stop giving others the power to determine how you feel. Here's what breaking the pattern looks like. You stop reacting the same way every time. You stop falling into automatic, knee-jerk reactions that keep you emotionally enslaved. Every time something happens, you ask yourself, is this how I really want to react? Is this pattern serving me? And if the answer is no, you change it. You choose a new response. You choose to be the one in control. You choose to be unpredictable. This is not an option. This is a necessity. The moment you start breaking the pattern, you free yourself from the emotional shackles that have been holding you hostage. You create space to respond from a place of power and choice, instead of being a puppet of your own emotions. Take ownership. Don't let the world dictate your response. You decide what happens next. If someone insults you, don't give them the satisfaction of your predictable response. Don't lash out in anger. Don't get defensive. Don't play the victim. Instead, Take a deep breath. Stay calm. Watch how the situation unfolds and choose your response. You are not a victim of your emotions. You are the master of them. It's time to stop being a prisoner of your patterns. Stop being the person who always reacts the same way. Stop being the one who's always triggered, always upset, always bothered by what others say or do. Take responsibility for your emotional responses. Stop being predictable and start being unpredictable. Start showing up differently every day. Start responding from a place of inner strength, not from the patterns that have kept you trapped in frustration and anger. Predictability makes you weak. It's a chain that holds you back. It's a cage that keeps you from breaking free and living on your own terms. If you want to master your emotions and never be bothered by anyone again, you have to break that chain. You have to tear down the walls of predictability and create space for new, powerful ways of responding to life's challenges. This is not just about anger management. This is about taking control of your life. It's about living with intention, living with power, and living with the certainty that you are in charge of your emotional state no matter what happens. When you break the pattern, you don't just respond to life's challenges differently. You respond with strength, clarity, and control. And that, my friend, is the key to not only never getting angry or bothered by anyone, but also to living a life of freedom, purpose, and power. So, are you ready to break the pattern? Are you ready to take responsibility for your reactions, your emotions, and your life? Stop being predictable. Start showing up with strength and unpredictability. Start controlling your emotions, not letting them control you. It's time to disrupt the status quo. It's time to break free. We have more interesting videos about stoicism and the way of life. If you want to watch a video about 10 ways to train your mind like a genius, please click link above in the video. If you like the video or you don't want to miss further videos about stoicism, please subscribe. Number 12. Release the need for control. Let life flow without resistance. Control. It's the silent enemy of your peace, the insidious force that keeps you tangled in frustration, anger, and disappointment. You can feel it, deep down, the need to control. It takes hold of your mind, grinds away at your emotions, and makes you believe that if you can just force things to go your way, everything will be fine. But here's the truth you've been avoiding. Control is an illusion. It is the very thing that is keeping you from being truly free, and it's the source of all your anger and irritation. If you want to never get angry again, you need to release the need for control. You need to let go of the idea that you can dictate how everything unfolds around you. Life is not a script you can write and force everyone to follow. And here's the harshest truth of all. No one else is required to meet your expectations, and trying to control that will only lead you into a never-ending battle of frustration. Right now, you're holding on to that need for control like it's your lifeline, but in reality, it's strangling you. It's making every interaction, every situation, every disappointment feel like a personal attack. It makes you angry at the world, frustrated with people, and bitter about your circumstances. But here's the thing. The world doesn't owe you anything. It's time to let go of the grip that is slowly suffocating you. Life is not something to dominate. It is something to embrace. You can't control what others think, say, or do. You can't dictate every moment of your life. What you can control, however, is your reaction to everything that happens. And when you relinquish the need to control the uncontrollable, you gain the ultimate power. The power to be at peace no matter what life throws at you. This is where real freedom lies. The moment you release the need for control, the world opens up to you. The anger, frustration, and irritation that once ruled your life dissolve into nothing. You realize that it was never the world around you that was the problem. It was the belief that you could make it bend to your will. The moment you stop trying to force life to go your way, you stop fighting it. And when you stop fighting life, you stop being angry at it. This is not a passive process. It is an act of radical responsibility. You are the one who holds the key to your peace. Not the people who cut you off in traffic, not the rude comment someone made, not the expectations you place on your friends, your family, or even yourself. All of that is outside of your control. What is within your control, however, is how you choose to respond. If you want to never be bothered by anyone again, you need to stop holding on to the illusion that the world owes you anything. You have to release the need to control every outcome. This is freedom. This is how you regain your emotional power, how you stop being a slave to external events, and how you stop giving anyone or anything the power to upset you. Let's be clear, life will never unfold the way you expect. It never has, and it never will. The sooner you accept this truth, the sooner you will stop wasting your energy on frustration and begin focusing it on the only thing that matters: your reaction. You can choose peace over anger, calm over chaos, clarity over confusion, but only when you let go of control. This doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent. It means you become decisive in your response. You learn to let go of the internal struggle that tries to make everything line up with your desires, your ego, your expectations, and instead you start living in the flow, understanding that every twist and turn of life is an opportunity, not a setback. There's no greater power than being at peace with the uncontrollable. When you let go of control, you stop trying to force things to happen on your terms. You stop fighting what is and start accepting what is. You stop demanding perfection, and you begin to embrace life as it is, flawed, messy, unpredictable, and yet full of potential. Think about it. How many times have you gotten angry or frustrated because life didn't go your way? How many times have you fought with the world and lost? When you release control, you win. You win the freedom to live without resistance. You win the ability to see every obstacle as an opportunity. You win your peace of mind. But let's not sugarcoat this. Releasing control is not easy. It requires strength, vulnerability, and an unshakable commitment to yourself. It means looking at your life, your relationships, your expectations, and realizing that you don't have to control everything. You simply need to be with it, to accept it, without fighting, without pushing, without demanding. You will not be perfect at this. There will be moments when your old patterns resurface and the need for control creeps back in. But here's the powerful truth. Each time you let go, you become stronger. Each time you choose to release your grip, you become freer. You become less angry, less bothered, and more in control of the only thing that matters: yourself. You want to stop being angry? Stop trying to control everything. Stop forcing people to behave the way you want. Stop expecting things to go according to plan. Life will throw curveballs, and it's your job to decide how to respond. The moment you stop fighting what you cannot change is the moment you gain back your peace. So ask yourself, what is the price of control? What are you willing to give up to have it? And what do you gain when you finally let go? Freedom, peace, your life back. This is how you break the cycle. This is how you stop being triggered by others. Release control and let life flow without resistance. Till the next time, stay strong and live wisely.